Adam was able to build 8 miles per hour of exit velo in 6 months. Jake went from 89 to 96 in 4 months. Luca went from 92 to 96 in 1 month. And a different Luca went from 89 to 99.3 exit velo in 6 months. So in this video, I'm just going to go over what I do with these guys to help them build their rotational power. So if you're a baseball player that's also looking to build your power or throwing velo so you can play at the next level and be the player that you've dreamt of being, then this is for you. Maybe you're tired of being a contact hitter or a crafty off-speed guy and you need to build your power or your velo so you can play at the next level, win a starting spot, or just dominate on the field. But you're either not sure what to do to build that rotational power, or you've tried lifting on your own or doing team workouts and random programs that haven't really helped you that much, then those guys that I just mentioned were in a really similar spot that you were before doing these things, so this can help you too. But just so you know, by no means is this an overnight hack. This will only work if you're serious enough about it to work hard and be consistent with it. So if you're not really willing to work hard, be consistent, and have great attention to detail, or you just already feel like you know everything from scrolling social media or talking to ChatGPT, then this probably won't be that helpful for you. But if you are pretty serious about it and you're willing to learn and be consistent, then you'll want to watch the whole video, because this is the exact framework that I use with my athletes here at All Your Heart Athletics to help baseball players build their rotational power so they can increase throwing velocity, exit velocity, or both. It's a step-by-step process to build that rotational power that I've identified after spending years in school, earning my bachelor's degree in exercise science, getting my CSCS, and also my doctorate of physical therapy, and also transforming myself as a player and helping hundreds of baseball players all over the world do the same. If you don't know me, my name is Jordan Kennedy. I'm the founder of All Your Heart Athletics, and I help baseball players build elite tools and reduce their injury risk. My most consistent players are able to improve their throwing and exit velo anywhere from 5 to 10 miles per hour, drop their 60.3 seconds or more, and gain 10 to 20 pounds if they need to, and also go from their arm having constant pain to their arm feeling great. These guys are able to do this with my hybrid physical therapy and performance approach. And this hybrid approach is really critical because, to be honest, you absolutely need tools if you want to play at the next level of baseball. But at the same time, baseball training is failing immensely at keeping guys healthy. Injury rates for high school players are anywhere from 20 to 25%. 30 to 40% of college players get hurt, and then something like 50+% of pro players sustain an injury each year. So injuries are absolutely running rampant in the game of baseball, but also we need to improve our performance at the same time that we're trying to stay healthy. I'm here today just to simply give you as much information as possible on this rotational power aspect and walk you through this step by step. As I walk you through this, you're going to find a detailed layout of every single method I use for rotational power with my guys so you can apply it to your game as well. And just so you know that those guys I mentioned earlier are actually real players and I'm not just blowing smoke or anything, I included them right here, just different texts that they sent me talking about their results, and then also videos of them swinging the bat a little bit faster than they were before doing some of these things. Just so you know though, rotational power is just one aspect of being a complete player. This by no means is a fix-all for your career or anything, even though this will definitely help you build that rotational power, but it's just one aspect of being a complete player, right? It's also critical to build muscle, total body strength, speed. You got to reduce your injury risk and also build your skills, whether that's on the field themselves or your mental game, to be the player that you want to be and really go succeed in the game of baseball. So while this power guide is very tactical, it doesn't encompass the entire process that I help my players with. So before I get into the rotational power guide, here are a few case studies of guys that I've helped with my entire system. So this is my story right here. I worked really hard in high school, but I realized once I got to college, I was really undersized and I didn't have the tools I needed to succeed as a baseball player. My arm hurt all the time. So really, I just went to work trying to figure out what it looks like to train as a baseball player. Had a lot of trial and error along the way, but eventually I figured out some really good methods to help myself. So ended up going from 170 to 200 pounds, ended up dropping my 60 from a 7.5 to a 6.8 while I gained that weight. And then my exit velo went from 85 to 100 miles per hour plus. So I was really able to make a lot of gains that were an absolute game changer for my career. And then this right here, this is Josh. He came into me as an undersized high school senior. He was still looking for a place to play in college for the fall after his senior year. Came in maybe December or January of his senior year, and he was able to grind it out that off season, then all season. Ended up gaining 27 pounds, and then he was already fast, but he was able to get faster. And then he ended up going off his senior year, playing really well, and then went off to play college baseball and hit his first home run opening weekend of college, actually, which was really cool. And then Luca right here, he was already a big and strong guy. He was a JUCO guy, but really was having trouble transferring that strength to the baseball field. So he was able to come in and work hard. He got a lot faster, built onto his already really good strength base. And then he's able to get up to 106 exit velocity. So he did really good. And then while he was on my program, a coach did an assessment on him. And from his numbers and everything, the guy told him he was an athletic freak. So that was really cool to see, from being that guy who like couldn't really translate his strength into athleticism to being called an athletic freak. Like that was awesome to hear. And then this is Tripp right here. So he came in spring of his junior year, so wasn't really throwing a lot on varsity as a junior. He was sitting maybe 78 to 79, had tried working out on his own and everything, but didn't really see that good of results. So he ended up gaining 20 pounds working with me, and then went up plus 12 velo. And then he ended up committing to go play at a pretty solid D2 program there in North Carolina. So he was able to do really well. He's up high 8s, low 9s right now. So he's made a ton of progress as a player. So those are a few of the guys that I've helped. And then if you wanted to learn about my entire process so you can kind of see what's working for them and then try to apply it to your game as well, I actually have a full video going down in depth exactly what I do to help my guys kind of fully like develop that complete baseball player aspect of it. And you can go check out whenever is convenient for you, but we're going to jump right into the rotational power guide, kind of show you exactly what these guys are doing to build their rotational power. So here's some things that we're going to go over right here, just so you know what we're going to cover. And also, I'm really committed to having research-based methods. So, I'm not just pulling stuff out of my butt. I'm not making up anything. All of this stuff is based off of really solid evidence, and I'm just applying it to the baseball player. So the first thing that's really important for having a lot of rotational power is having a really good warm-up in place. So something that a lot of guys get wrong with having a really good warm-up is maybe they're just jogging out to center field, they're stretching a little bit, and then they just jog back in, they start playing catch. Or say you're trying to warm up to hit for the day, so you just go into the cage cold and you just start taking swings, trying to warm up like that. Really, the issue with that is you're probably leaving like 1 to 2 miles per hour of either throwing or exit velocity on the table because your body isn't prepared to be as explosive as possible. So this is a really research-based way I help my guys warm up. It's called the ramp protocol. You can see the study for it right here is cited. And then if you want an example warm-up right here, I have that as well. That's literally the exact warm-up I give my guys to help them get ready to go. But really what a good warm-up does is, number one, it'll raise your heart rate, your respiration rate, and your body temperature. And then also you got to activate and mobilize. So you got to activate your muscles, and then you got to mobilize your joints to get ready to go for that day. And then lastly is just priming your nervous system to be as explosive as possible. So if you can combine all of those things, that's a good warm up. And then I have an example warm up right there that you can go in and do right away. That way you're getting off on the right foot. And then next, you got to actually build rotational strength. Strength is the foundation of athletic performance. If you're a baseball guy at all, you probably know about the steroid era of baseball. And literally all those guys did is they just got jacked up and super strong. Literally, they set home run record will never be broken. And it's just because they got really, really strong. Obviously, they did some things that they shouldn't have been doing to get strong. But really what I want to show you is how to build your rotational strength the right way. I went to a junior college. Almost half of my team was doing stuff that they shouldn't have been doing to get strong. But yet I was able to get stronger than almost all of them because I had a better strength plan in place than they did. So I'm just going to show you the right way to get strong, right? A key thing that a lot of guys neglect as far as strength goes is they never train rotation strength. Baseball is such a rotational sport, it makes no sense that we aren't training rotational strength enough. And if guys are doing it, they're doing really light exercises like banded Pallof presses and things like that. And that's not really going to build you the strength that you need. Everybody knows to build your lower body strength, you load up a squat or a deadlift. So why are we not loading up with strength and rotation? Right? So that's really the approach that I take right here, is building rotational strength. It's a little bit tricky to load up rotation. So here are a few exercises that I use with my guys that work really well. We do cable oblique rotations. I have a full video breakdown. This is from my full program showing you exactly how to do those cable rotations properly. Landmine rotation is another go-to for me. And then say you don't have any equipment available. There are definitely some ways where you can make it challenging so you can actually build that strength. So I have a progression right here that I give my players on oblique windshield wipers. And then another way is with oblique side raises. So the obliques are the muscle that's in charge of rotation. You can see them right here, and they're in charge of rotation, but they're also in charge of side bending. So you can train side bending and that'll build oblique strength, and then that'll translate to having good rotational strength. So that's what that exercise is geared to do, just helping you build that oblique strength, and then it translates to rotational strength as well. But some good rep ranges for strength. You want to do 2 to 5 sets of 1 to 6 reps. you want to have a full rest in between. So 2 to 3 minutes, you need to rest your nervous system and your muscles in between because you're trying to lift heavy. So you need to have that output each set that you do. And then you're going to do this 1 time a week as well, is how I set this up for my guys. But just know that if you're doing basic reps, you're doing the same reps every single time you go in. You got to switch that up and you got to have a planned progression in place to make strength gains as fast as possible. But that's really the basic overview. Like, you will definitely get stronger doing these things, but just know if you're already a really advanced athlete or you just want to make results as quickly as possible, you've got to have good progression strategies in order to do that. Now that we've built up some good strength, the question really is, how fast can we apply that strength? You know, baseball's a really quick game. Whenever you're throwing on the mound, that's a very explosive, quick movement. And then the ball coming into you, you've got to have that bat speed available. So while strength is important to have that force available to you, you've got to be able to apply it quickly. So that's where rate of force development comes in. And really, that's just a fancy word for saying power or explosiveness. So that's really what we want to train with this right here. So a really common issue I see a lot of players run into is whenever they're trying to build this rotational power with med balls or whatever, they don't have a lot of intent with their exercises. So they're just halfway through on the med ball. You have to have max power output in order for your body to make that adaptation. You've got to move fast to learn how to move fast, right? So that's a big thing you want to focus on, is having really good intent here. And then also at the same time, understanding what good movement is as well. That's really important. So I have detailed breakdowns on each exercise right here on how to do that. Another thing is they go in there, they do high reps, they do like sets of 10 with rotational power, but really we want to keep reps low with really high intent whenever we're trying to build this rotational power. But there's basically 2 ways that I help my guys build rotational power. The first way is with ballistic exercise. A great example of ballistic exercise is throwing med balls. So here are a few med ball exercises you can use and detailed breakdowns on how to execute each one of those. So you're going to do 3 to 5 sets of 3 to 5 reps with these. Going to go anywhere from a 6 to a 12-pound med ball. So you want to give yourself a 1 to 2 minute rest between sets. And then you'll be able to do this 2 to 3 times a week. Also, another way to build that rotational power is using resistance exercises. So this setup with resistance exercises, I typically use a Kaiser machine, which is a little bit more advanced equipment. And then I base the percentages off of what my guys are doing for their 1 rep max on cable oblique rotations, like I just talked about. But really a basic setup to do it is 5 sets of 3 to 5 reps with those, with 40 to 60% of your 1 rep max, and then a 1 to 2 minute rest in between sets. And you want to do this 1 time per week as well. And a couple good exercises for this. Number 1 is explosive band rotations. If you don't have access to that Kaiser machine, you can use it with a band and just be really explosive with that. Find something that's a little bit challenging, but you can still be really explosive with. And then explosive landmine press is another one that I'll give to my guys pretty regularly as well. And again, like I was saying earlier, all of this stuff is research-based, so this is my source for this aspect of it. So now that we've talked about the meat and potatoes in a sense of training yourself to be more rotationally strong and have that power in rotation as well, there are actually a couple methods you can use to immediately boost your explosiveness as well. And this is through a principle called potentiation. But really what potentiation does is it allows your body to override a mechanism that it uses to conserve energy. So your body doesn't want to use energy if it doesn't have to. Like, imagine back in the day, you're trying to survive, you're trying to hang on to calories as much as you can. So it doesn't really make sense for your body to fully activate your quad or fully activate your glute whenever you're just walking around all day. That's not a good use of that energy. But at the same time, for athletics, we got to try to override this somehow. So we can use this principle of potentiation. And really what we're doing with that is we're trying to prime the muscle to be as explosive as possible and have more of that muscle active. So that way you're able to have more of that athletic output. So there's 2 ways that this research study went over on how we can do that. The first way is using isometric before you hit and throw. So the way I like using isometrics is with something called an overcoming isometric, where you're rotating into something as hard as you possibly can. The way I have it set up for my guys is you're going to do 3 max effort sets of 5 seconds, and that'll immediately boost your explosiveness because you're going to be activating that full muscle. It gives your body enough time to recruit all of those muscles. And then once that pathway is kind of hot and loosened up, then you're going to be able to go out and be more explosive right away. And then another way you can do this is using a light bat before you go hit and throw. This was also outlined in this study. But basically what you're going to do is you're just going to swing a bat as hard as you can. The study used a 10-ounce bat, so something like an old T-ball bat would work pretty well for this. And you can just do 5 max effort swings before you hit and you throw, and that'll immediately boost your explosiveness. So that's something you can do before you go hit, but you want to do this after your isometric. So think activating the muscle with your isometric, getting it ready to go. So that way you have more muscle available to you. And then whenever you're priming it with this light bat before you go, then you're trying to get used to moving fast. And then that way you'll be able to move faster once you're actually throwing or you're actually hitting. So we covered all the stuff as far as building rotational strength and rotational power, but how do you actually apply that? If you go out, you just do it randomly, probably not going to help you that much. You got to have a little bit of structure with it. I have a couple example blocks right here. So you have cable rotations for that strength, and then you have your med ball scoop throw for that ballistic exercise. And then on your lower body power days, that's whenever you can add your resistance power exercise like we talked about earlier. And then you want to add in 1 to 2 med ball exercises. And then remember, having good sets and reps is really important as well. So for that, for the strength, you want to have 2 to 5 sets of 1 to 6 reps, 2 to 3 minutes rest between sets, doing that once a week. And then I also have the other parameters for the resistance power and the ballistic work with the med balls right there that you can go in there and you can apply that right away. So years of training and education and hours of research went into creating this guide for you and giving you actionable steps so that way you can go build your rotational power. So I sincerely hope you got value from it. You can probably take this information and run with it and apply it to your own game. But if you're the type of guy I mentioned before and you're willing to work hard and be consistent to make strides as fast as possible because you know the clock is ticking with the game of baseball, then I want to help you develop as a player as much as possible and help you reach your potential as quickly as you can and just shortcut the trial and error process of implementing everything on your own. I'll give you exactly what you need for your situation to build elite tools, reduce your injury risk, and also help you build skills and mentality so you can perform well on game day. And it's about the same financial investment as going to a hitting or pitching coach once a week, but you're getting that full development plan in place for you. So if that's something that interests you at all, then you can watch this video on the full breakdown on my program. Or if you've already seen it and you want to get rolling ASAP, then you can book a call using the link in the description of this YouTube video. Or if you just want to talk to me a little bit more and get more info on the program and how I can help you, then DM me 5tool on Instagram and I'll be reaching out to you right away. You may be thinking, I'm already doing school workouts or random programs, and I totally get that 100%. I thought just doing the school lifts in college was going to get me the results that I needed. What that did is it caused me to not make results as much as I should have if I was doing exactly what I needed. Or if you're thinking, I can definitely just put together everything on my own, just know that there's definitely a time cost of that. And you're going to spend a lot of time trying to figure out exactly what works best for you and what you should be doing for your specific situation. And I wasted 2 years of my playing career making the same progress that a lot of guys make in my program in 6 months. So if you want to make progress as quickly as possible, I would love to work with you. And again, like if you want more information, you can watch that video I have linked right here. Or if you've already seen it and you want to talk with me directly, talk about your situation, just see if it would be a good fit to help you, then you can book a call with me directly and you can get on my calendar and we'll talk it through that way. Or if you just need some more information from me, you can DM me 5tool on Instagram and then we'll talk about your situation and see if this is something that might be a good fit for you. But again, a ton of work went into this rotational power guide for you. I hope it's super helpful for you. I'll catch you in the next video.